Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Thursday, and all of today's guests, including John Shannon, standing by, brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Giants look to stave off elimination tonight against Kamloops. They're down 3-0. At the LEC, Game 4 against the Blazers, underway at 7:30. Tickets available at vancouvergiants.com/tickets. And this is why I love sports. What happened last night in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
The night before in Calgary, the Flames, I don't know a better way to put it, they blew it. Against one of the worst teams in the NHL. They lose to Chicago, season on the line. They have this big game against Winnipeg the next night. You think this, and Markstrom's playing back-to-back. Everything set up for Calgary to lose and basically end their season. What happens? They win. That's why we love sports.
That's right.
You know, the first reality show, so unpredictable, so entertaining. Just so great. Flames over the Jets 3-1. With that, we bring in NHL analyst, co-host of the Bob McCown podcast, John Shannon. John, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Hey, boys. I'm great. How are you?
Good. What the Flames show you last night?
Well, they showed me the spurts that they've showed in the last 3 or 4 weeks at times, that they do have some resilience and they do have some character.
We lose John?
There
he is.
You shook your head at the way Nazem Kadri played against Chicago, and then last night you saw a lot of Nazem Kadri doing what Kadri was supposed to do. Give Zadorov some credit. He was a monster last night, all night long. And on the other side, the expectation that some of the stars for the Winnipeg Jets, Wheeler, Scheifele, have to perform at a higher level continued to be another issue. So it's an interesting time for sure in those two Western Canadian cities.
We had a technical mishap there, John, but what you came up with was seamless. Broadcasting 101. Excellent. Hey, the Oilers, and you cover that team. You do their broadcast on Sportsnet. They win in Anaheim. They've won 6 straight now. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins becomes the third Oiler to record over 100 points or more this season. Edmonton's 1 point back in Vegas for top spot in the Pacific Division and the Western Conference. You know that team. Where's it at, John?
Well, they're a different team in the calendar year, Donnie, and the growth of the team has been truly amazing. And there's a couple of things on the calendar to mark. One is the return of Evander Kane to the lineup, and it's not his scoring prowess, but it's his ego and his panache and his swagger that a lot of the Edmonton Oilers inherit when he plays the game. He becomes a factor. He creates a larger than life figure on one of those top 2 lines. And the other one, obviously, is trade deadline when they were able to get Matthias Ekholm out of Nashville. I think they're 3-13-1 since he showed up. And quite frankly, what it's done is it's put Darnell Nurse, who was under the huge pressure of being the number 1 defenseman, back where he should be as the number 3 defenseman. And what's truly happened there is Ekholm in the room, Ekholm on the ice, Ekholm working with Evan Bouchard has created another dimension. This is a team that right now, and by the way the defense is playing has made their goaltending better too, which everybody thought was their Achilles heel, and it still might be, but it's certainly much better than it was. This is a team that has every dimension to be a champion now. They're still a long way away, and there's still lots of roadblocks. But if you told me that the Edmonton Oilers could be the Western Conference participant in the Stanley Cup final, I don't think you'd have many people arguing with you.
John, what feel are you getting? The Canucks season is not far from being over, and then you know what's going to happen. Yeah. We're going to talk about the offseason. Do you see major changes, tinkering? What's your gut saying right now?
Well, I think like most people that follow this team and most of the fans in the province, you hope that there isn't a lot of the fool's goal that we've seen with the hockey club, and people get get mystified or blinded by some of the play of some of the guys. This team still needs surgery. The definition of major surgery versus minor surgery is one thing that I think that we could all argue. But Thatcher Demko makes this team better. Quinn Hughes has certainly played much better, even if he's sick once in a while. Pettersson's year has been fantastic, but go beyond those key players, and I think you have to put JT Miller in there too, based on the contract.
Yeah.
But you go be those guys. Don't get fooled. This team still did not make the playoffs. And I do think that Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford understand that. And I still think that they have a plan that they're trying to put in place. And I would not be surprised to see them go out and try to find a few of those guys that they've talked about, like the Beauvilliers, those 24 and 25-year-old guys that haven't reached their potential elsewhere, that they feel that they can tap and join the Canucks and be part of a successful season next year.
John, I sometimes wonder if the Toronto team was in Vancouver, how this city would react to 4 straight 100-point years, but out in round one. What is going to happen in Toronto if they go out in round one? I mean, 4 straight years, 100 points. I mean, never heard of something like this in a long time, John.
No, they're a really good hockey team, Rick. And I, for one, don't think they'll go out in the first round this year. And this is the first time in 4 that I've said that. I think they are a better team than Tampa. But if the Toronto Maple Leafs are eliminated in the first round again, there's going to be 50% of the market crying for every head possible at MLSE.
Yep.
And the other 50% are going to say, I told you so.
Yep.
So it's one of those galvanizing moments for Toronto Maple Leaf fans. But if that is the case, then I suspect that there would be major changes both on the ice and off the ice with this Maple Leaf squad.
Yep.
John, Seattle has, and you're a BCer, so you know the embarrassment level in Canuck Nation when I bring up this stat. Seattle has 19 more points than the Vancouver Canucks. It looks like they're going to the playoffs. What have the Kraken done well in 2 years? Less than 2 years.
Well, Ron Francis is a smart guy, and in so many ways, Ron Francis' fingerprints are on 2 teams that are going to the playoffs. This one and the one in Carolina, that they haven't really made as many changes as people thought they might. Well, after he left, and he did a magnificent job in being patient and growing homegrown guys for the Hurricanes. And what Ron had a plan. Ron had a plan to build and draft a team through the expansion draft and through the regular draft. And then to use the cap. And nobody has used the cap better than Ron has. When you look at the signings of Burakovsky and Oliver Bjorkstrand, Adam Larson, so he's built this methodically and quickly. And the other thing is, guys, and I think it's a simple remedy. They used their equity in trading guys like Mark Giordano. They gave Vince Dunn a chance to be the number 1 defenseman. And they've had more solid goaltending than the Canucks have without Thatcher Demko.
Yeah.
Martin Jones, and you saw Martin Jones the other night. Martin Jones should be, in my mind, the best return to play story in the NHL this year, and he has been that good. They have depth, they have consistent scoring, they have speed. The other guy that might be is Jared McCann. And dare I remind Canuck fans what Jared McCann was.
Oh, so
yeah. Ron Francis deserves a ton of credit for staying the course, doing the job the way he did, believing in Dave Haxtell, because I think there were people that thought he might be gone by now if they hadn't turned it around. And this is classic Ron Francis being patient, being consistent, and now just wait until the offseason when he still has a ton of cap space and see what the Kraken do.
John, we're out of time here, but just one quick comment from you, if you don't mind. I hate to be quick about this, but what goes through your mind when you realize today is the 5-year anniversary of the Humboldt tragedy?
I read it this morning and was shocked to think back that it has already been 5 years. And I can only think of the families. I know Chris Joseph. in Edmonton, and that's what comes to mind for me is being a parent. We all understand the anxiety that the passion that you have as being a parent, and to know that you've lost someone, and those that lost, that's not something that's an anniversary. That's a day-to-day thing, and it just breaks your heart, even 5 years later.
Well said. Thanks, John. All the best. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Happy Easter.
You bet.